Chariots of Fire is a strange case indeed. When it showed up to the red carpet of the Academy Awards ceremony, I don't think that a lot of people actually expected it to take the top prize. It was a British production without any big names attached to it, both in front and behind the camera. I mean, the two most recognizable faces in the film are probably Bilbo Baggins with a mustache and a much younger and slightly thinner Vernon Dursley, with the latter only appearing in one scene. And even with those two, they weren't big names when the film came out. Not only that, there were 4 other films that received more nominations than Chariots of Fire. There was the epic Warren Beatty picture Reds, the star-studded On Golden Pond, who nabbed the 2 leading acting awards, the Milos Forman-directed Ragtime, and of course, my personal favorite, the action-packed blockbuster extravaganza Raiders of the Lost Ark. And yet, Chariots of Fire is the Best Picture winner of 1981. And it's a good film. It was directed by Hugh Hudson, who's probably most well known for directing Chariots of Fire. It stars Ben Cross and Ian Charleson as Harold Abrahams and Eric Liddell respectively, and it tells the true story of the 2 athletes as they prepare themselves to represent the United Kingdom at the 1924 Olympics in Paris. The film depicts their personal ambitions, their unique struggles, and their rivalry, if you can call it that. There's no better place to start when talking about this film than with that musical score, which greets us right off the bat. Vangelis is a genius, and he delivers one of his most iconic compositions here. He would later go on to compose the music for the Ridley Scott films Blade Runner and 1492 Conquest of Paradise, but the music he made here is arguably his most well-known. I can't play it here because of copyright reasons, but just search the Chariots of Fire theme on YouTube and give it a listen. It's super iconic and instantly recognizable. There isn't a single person on Earth who doesn't know it. The entirety of the musical score in this film is superb, and Vangelis definitely deserved his Oscar. The rest of the film is also good, but it doesn't reach the same heights as the music, if you ask me. The film starts off very slow and without much direction, and I don't think it delivers a good enough reason for us to care about the characters or about what's going on. But as the film progressed, the core of the story began to reveal itself, and I became way more invested. The characters become more fleshed out and likable, and all of a sudden, we've got ourselves a quality sports drama on our hands. The 2 main characters are very relatable, and I appreciate how the film doesn't shy away from just how much their faith is a driving force behind their decisions. Indeed, Abraham's Judaism, and even more so, Liddell's Christianity, are 2 of the main sources of drama that the characters experience, and I like how the film portrayed both characters as flawed, but ultimately admirable. On the slightly negative side of things, I don't think the film explores their personal rivalry in a satisfactory way. I mean, they only race each other once throughout the whole thing, and as the loser tries his best to improve before the actual decisive race at the Olympics, the winner ends up not participating in the race at all. That's a bit anticlimactic. I know it's based on a true story and you can't just mess around with the facts, but as a motion picture, I think it could have benefited from more interactions and a richer relationship between the 2 leads. On the technical side of things, the film is very well made. The cinematography deserves special mention. It has some pretty impressive one-shots, especially for the time, but of course, the main trait of the visual style is the abundant use of slow motion, and it's always used to great effect. I especially liked the decisive race itself. The build-up is so effective, and the tension is palpable, with the slow motion adding an extra layer of weight and gravitas to the proceedings. Really well done, and it also just looks great. I loved it. And that's pretty much all I have to say about this film. I wouldn't call it a must-watch by any means, but if you want to see a well-made, traditional and heartwarming drama, then you really can't go wrong with Chariots of Fire. Chariots of Fire is yet another solid, well-made and entertaining Best Picture winner, and slightly more entertaining than Ordinary People for me, although there isn't much to separate between the 2. Here's hoping the next Best Picture winner will have a bit more to offer than merely being a good film. Up next is the 55th Best Picture winner, a very critically acclaimed biopic following the life of one of the most influential people in the history of the world, Gandhi. Check back again for the next video of DB Reviews Oscar Madness Marathon and subscribe to my channel so you won't miss a thing. Thank you all very much and let the journey continue.